Hello and welcome to another hour of awesome miniature painting. Today we are doing the Wizkids miniatures, and these are the D&D miniatures by Wizkids Games. What I've done so far, we've got the Manticore. This is an absolutely fantastic miniature. All I've done so far is I've given the base coats because there's no point in me painting the base coats on stream because you'll all fall asleep and that'll be the end of the show. So what we've got here, I've added some flat brown to my Manticore. Let's get that in the stream. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Matt, Tommy. Now this is the Manticore that I think they also did a little. You could get this from Wizkids, and they're sending it to all the stores for like an in-home paint. It's very nice miniature and should be quite simple. Thank you, Corey, for subscribing. And then we've got the Venom Troll. This is the new Venom Troll from Wave 12. Nice miniature. It's a bit of a fatty. And all I've done so far, I've just painted this with a dark green as an undercoat. And what I've done with the bases as well, I've stuck them to the base. I've added some sand and just gone over with some grey. And the same with the Manticore. I added some sand to the base and I've just gone over just to fill up the bases. Now the bases are 50mm. Very nice. Now today should be quite a simple paint. All we need to do is, with the Manticore, if I show you the pictures on the back, all we're doing is we're just making the browns lighter. We're going to paint in a nice orangey brown for the mane, and then we're going for a lighter brown for the face features and some dark brown for the tail. With the Venom Troll, as you can see, the actual painted version that they've got here is just very dark. There's hardly anything in there. So what we're going to do with the Venom Troll, we're going to really lighten that green up today. So it'll bring out more details than what you can see on the picture, because that picture is just a bit too dark. So let's see if we can bring out some nice green colours and bring out all the details of the miniature with our greens today. And again, very simple. I'll be using my nice large brush and I'll just be flying over the miniatures, and we're getting these colours popping on our minis. Alright, let me say hello to everybody. We've got Scorpler, Mighty Lancer Games, hello. Renegade Shank, I hope you're good. Tommy, hello. Corey, hello. Umbro, am I missing anyone there? Welcome everybody, thank you for popping in on your Sunday afternoons or night times or whenever it is in your country. So I think we'll make a start on the Venom Troll first. Now what I'm going to do is, this is the green I used. This is a German uniform by Veleco, and all I'm going to do is add some to my palette and some white. So we're just going to use the same green, but we're going to just highlight it and bring those colours out on our miniature. And we've got the didgeridoo going. The didgeridoo paint mixer. Hello Dover Cook. So I just get a nice blob of green on our palette. And all we're going to do is put some white on there. See, all I can think of is didgeridoo every single time I use that now. Didgeridoo. Okay. Now I've got some kitchen towel, which I'll be using to mix all my paints on. So I'll put that there. I'll move this a bit forward so you can see. And I'll take some more paper off because I'll be needing it in a second. I'll just drink some coffee. Now you'll have to forgive me, because what happened was my stream started at 3 o'clock, but I had my, as I call it, my old man cat nap. Every day I have a little cat nap with my animals, because I'm getting old and we do that when we get old. And I fell asleep, of course, and my special alarm clock woke me up about 10 minutes before the show. So you can blame my lovely Scorpler for me being Okay, let's get started. And anyway, I love Scorpio a bit, so you know she is forgiven. Okay, let's get some green on. So what we're going to do, we get some green onto our tissue, and all we're going to do is add a little bit of white to our brush and just add that into the tissue, just to lighten it up a little bit. And what will happen is that will just bring out, it'll leave shade on the areas that we want shade, and it'll bring out all the places that we want highlighted. So we just fly over the miniature. Not too hard, we just want to we want to leave some shading in there. We will have an ink wash on this miniature, so that's not an issue. But what we're doing is just bringing out the different colours and the green, and this will bring out highlights underneath the green because it's got a darker shade now. Now I'm going over the whole miniature. I mean, we've got the loincloth there, and it doesn't matter that I'm going over the loincloth, because once this skin is all done, we shall be painting over that loincloth next, so it's not an issue. This is why I say always get all your skin done first. If you've got 90% skin on a miniature, it's so much easier just to get all the skin dry brushed, because you are going to be painting over the clothes later on. It's like the hair on this miniature will be black, so it doesn't matter if we go over the rest of the miniature because it's going to be painted. So you can really go to town with your dry brushing, not worry about making too much of a mess, because we are going to be going and painting over it later once the paint is dried. Okay, so the initial layer is almost on. It's quite a thick coat, because all we're wanting to do is leave a hint of the paint underneath, so we've got a shade, and all we're doing is adding more white to that green, and we can build up the highlights of the skin. And the lighter you get, the stronger the recesses will be on the miniature, making them darker and darker. So all we need is this one. We'll go two more. We'll add two more light dry brushes on top of this one, and that skin will be done. There we are. You can see the dark in between the little fatty bits, and we've got the light on the highest areas. And like I say, the first dry brush is a heavy one, because all you want to do is leave the darker areas, but you want the whole of the skin covered apart from the deepest recesses. Around the face. That's beautiful. And there we are, and that's perfect for the first dry brush. And as you can see, you're starting to get all the nice shades. So all we've got to do now is we add more green, but we're going much heavier for the white. So we want to really bring out the white, take the pink excess off there, a bit more white there, a bit more white, there we go. Now this time it's much more delicate with your dry brushing, so we're going to the highest areas and we're just dabbing on the white there, and this will bring out all our little shades. Another thing you can do as well is you can get your little brush while the paint is wet. This is just a cotton bud, and you can blend that white in using a cotton bud. This will take away excess of the paint, but will leave a lovely effect going around the miniature. The same with what I do with the ink wash. So you add paint, and you can actually take the paint away while it's still wet with your cotton buds, and it's a great way of just taking away a little bit of excess and maybe a little bit of chalkiness. So what I've just taken a tiny bit off, and the cotton bud helps blend the paint in with the paint you've just done below the first dry brush. Again, around here, what I want to do is take a little bit off the top on the forehead, and that'll just blend it in a little bit more. There we are. So we're going for the highest areas again: kneecaps, tops of the toes, the little fingies, and the saggy chest parts. Saggy chest parts. We're just leaving little highlights around the skin. There we are. On the back the same. If we go down the muscles, we should just leave a highlight on the highest areas of our skin, on those muscles there. There we are. See, so far we've just done 2 passes with our dry brush, and that skin is looking fab already. So last time, let's go for the last one. What I'm going to do now is take a little bit of paint off the brush, and we'll just go straight into the white if there's any left on my palette. No, it's disappeared. Who's talking about saggy troll? You know what? I think there's certain words, Tommy, that is automatically taken off chat. I think that's just a normal thing. There we are. So we've gone to the last highlight now, top of the tummy, and for the shoulders, kneecaps, top of the toes, there we are, and a little bit on the face. So with the face, we're aiming for the forehead and the top of the nose, and maybe the chin, because that sticks out quite a bit as well. So what we've got there is all the highest areas have now had a little highlight, and that's just 3 layers onto the skin, and that works fantastic. So what we'll do is we'll let that dry off a little bit, and we shall move on to the Manticore. Get rid of that tissue. Same principle with the Manticore. This time we are using browns. Yeah, the Manticore is a fantastic miniature, really nice miniature. Right, for the Manticore we are using flat brown for the base coat there. So what we're going to do is use flat brown again. And again, the very same principle, we're just going to be adding white. We'll add white to our mix. And this is just a basic way of showing you how simple it is to just mix your colours, and that is, we could just, I did have my little pokey stick, here's my pokey stick, just to mix it in your colours using basic paints. So just using your browns, whites and blacks, you can darken or lighten that particular paint. I know you can get hundreds of different colours, but if you're on a limited budget, say you are a beginner, and you have just your basic core set of colours, as long as you've got a white and you've got a black, you can practically do anything you want. Okay, let's move on to the Manticore. Now with the Manticore, what we're going to do is the body first. Now I've got a little bit of green on here from my Venom, so that's not a problem, we'll just go over that. But what we're going to do is the wings in a lighter brown and the rest of the body. So once again, I shall add the brown to my tissue, and we're just going to add a little bit of white to this one. So we've got nice different texture, nice different colour, and we just go straight over all the areas. Now as you can see, it's already bringing out all the details on the wings just by lightly going over with our brown. Again, both miniatures will be getting an ink wash. This one of course will have a brown ink wash, and the troll will also get a brown ink wash, but will be a light brown ink wash. But we'll go through that together, so I think I got enough time to get these both shown up today. Plus I've got my radiator on, so that does help with the drying process of the ink washes. I was told by one of my patrons that they watched a Twitch painting show the other day, and I recommend watching all the different channels. It's all fantastic. But I was told that someone was painting miniatures on one of the shows, and instead of just painting something else, I was told that while the show was live, the person who was painting, they had their lunch while the paint was drying. And I thought, how can everybody watch a guy painting and then watch him eat his dinner and then go back to painting? I was like, oh my god. I don't know who the guy was, and I'm not having a pop at him as a person or a painter. I just thought, god, how could you have the nerve to do that? But no, what I try to do, if I can't get something done on the show in time, what I'll do is I'll move on to another figure, another little miniature. But you won't see me eating my lunch while you're talking to me. I found it hilarious, I really did. So I mean, there's dedication for you, I suppose. There you go. Now, as you can see, we're just going over the whole of the body of this miniature. Like I say, it is a beginner's guide. It's a very simple paint. What we're doing here is we're just putting on our basic dry brushing over the whole of the miniature. Nice, quick and simple. And that two-tone browns just works perfect for that body. Hi, Philippe. And TYNTX, hello. So we just keep on dry brushing these parts of the miniature, and as you can see, it looks fantastic already. Now, maybe I'm just going to do a little bit more of the dry brushing. I'm not actually going to make this lighter because I will add an ink wash to this one. So I really just wanted to get the basic highlight on by adding this here, and that looks fine to me. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so far our troll and our manticore are coming on fab. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start doing some more to the Venom Troll, then we'll go back to the Manticore, then we'll go back to the Venom Troll and do it like that. What I'm doing is, when I take the paint off these brushes, I actually just keep on adding water to the brush until no paint comes off my tissue, and once no paint comes off my tissue, I know my brush is clean and good to go. Okay. Yeah, Mighty Lands of Games. Some people are just crazy. Some people are just crazy. Okay, let's go back to our little troll. I really love the troll miniatures. It is really nice. Now, let's have a look. See. Now, what I'm doing, because I'm doing the 2 miniatures, what I do before the show is I work out in my head what paints I'm going to use for these miniatures, so I can quickly paint them in my head before I paint them on the show. So what I do here is I got cork brown. Now the cork brown is going to be used because I use the cards as a reference. It makes it good. It makes it lots of fun. So cork brown is going to be perfect for the Manticore face, as you can see. It's a beautiful colour. But because I'm doing a Venom Troll as well, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cork brown for the Venom Troll's little loincloth. So that's another thing when you're doing your miniature painting. If you're painting lots of miniatures or you're doing units, if you think of your colours beforehand, and if you're doing different figures, different miniatures, you can actually save yourself a lot of time if you know the same colour is going to work on other miniatures. So this colour is going to work on 2 miniatures. I can get them done at the same time. It saves you a little bit of time, and it also saves wastage in paint as well. Some of these paints need a real good mix. I mean, I got hundreds of paints, and some paints they have been just standing and I haven't used for a long time. There, that's better. Again, I totally recommend if you are really serious about painting. The Vortex mixer, I did a review on it. It's amazing. It really does mix up all your paints the way you need your paints mixed. I even used it on the old Games Workshop paints, the old 90s hex pots, and it worked fab. So I'm just going to use this lovely brown just to go over the loincloth. It looks like it probably will need 2 coats, but that's fine. That's not an issue. Again, the ink wash that I'm going to be using for this troll is a brown ink wash, and because we're using this lovely light cork brown, that ink wash will go over this light brown and go into all those lovely recesses, and it will bring out all the folds of your loincloth, which is really nice. As you can see, when I go to do more detailed, or I want to be more steady, I'm using both my hands to steady my brush. If I'm doing large miniatures, you'll see me painting like this. I've still got 1 finger touching, but when I go in deep, I can just get the paintbrush more steady by using both my hands to steady myself. It's just a quick, simple little job. And if you do make any mistakes, you just go back over with the colour you originally had. So we're just quickly going over there, back of the I'm also using quite a large brush, so this isn't really a detailed brush. I'm just trying to get the loincloth painted in quick and simple. There we are. I take it all the sound issues are okay. There's no problems with the sound. I keep on checking in. I don't want echoing and weird noises again. I mean, so far the last 2 shows have been fantastic. No problems or issues with video or sound. Good, thank you. Okay, so that's our little loincloth on. Lovely. And what we can do is we shall do the face and the little claws of the manticore, the little fingies of the manticore. This paint will be perfect for that. So we go on to the manticore, we just take that paint back to the hairline and just go around. I think when I was playing, I was playing Ark Survival, they had a manticore you could tame, and you could fly. I think it was a manticore, and you could fly around in Ark on a manticore, and that was good fun. Like I say, this will probably need another coat of this paint, and of course on the picture there, the fingers are the same colour. So what we'll do is we'll just go over the fingers. We'll paint in the fingernails. They'll be black, easy peasy. But it's just the actual fingers themselves. They're all the same colour as the face because they're more skin than fur. So just quickly put some paint on those. This one. And the same with the back toes as well. Just a tiny bit there. And the same on this side. There we are. So we've got the basics so far. It's already looking like the picture. Okay then. So I think we have to put a second coat on this one. Still a bit dry, so we'll move on to something. Still a bit wet, sorry. We'll move on to something else. You hearing voices again, Shank? Okay, let's get some black onto our table. Now the troll has black hair, so we're going to do some black hair. Going on to a fine brush this time. This is the Masterclass brush. You can get all these brushes from Mighty Lancer Games in the UK. If you become my patron, you get 10% off all your purchases from Mighty Lancer Games, which is amazing. Okay, let's get this hair done. Now the hair, again, simple, which is black. Now we've got like little dreadlocks actually, so what we're going to do, we've got one here that goes right down the head, so we'll just quickly do that one. Boom, done. There you go. And then they go behind the ear, so we'll just move around and follow the hair around the head of the troll. A little bit goes down behind the ear, so we'll get that done, and we just follow each strand, just nice and easy. And we'll work our way around. Now, there we are. Perfect. Oh, there you go. Again, using my hands to steady myself. Once you've been painting a long time, muscle memory comes into play, and you won't even realize you are using both your hands to steady yourself. But when you first start painting, you will have to keep on reminding yourself to use both of your hands. But once you've painted for quite a while, you'll find that it's so automatic and you don't even realize you're doing it. That's the troll's hair done. Again, very simple. Okay, let's have a look. We're still a bit wet there on the front. Okay, what we can do now then is we need to go back over with our brown. Actually, we can actually add the orange. We add the orange brown, which will be for the mane of the Manticore. That'll give that lovely effect to the mane of the Manticore. I'm going to use for this one is I'm going to again go back to a large dry brush. I'm just going to take the paint off, and what we're going to do, I'll move you over there, little troll, little fat troll, and if you can see the mane, I'm just going to go back with this orange, leaving that dark underneath. Just go work my way around the mane. I'll give it a lovely colour going around the mane. A lot of people are frightened of painting fur and hair and items like this, but it's actually much more simpler than you think. As long as you've got a darker undercoat, all you need to do is dry brush a lighter colour on the top surface, like I've done here, and that'll bring out all the details, the same as we've done with the skin, and it just works great. I mean, I can go one step further with this now. I've added that lovely brown orange to the mane. What I can do now is I can add a tiny bit of white to that orange. And so what I can do now is go one step further and just highlight the tips of the manes just by doing a light dry brush over the highest points around the Manticore. So we've started off with that one colour, and all we're doing is just adding a tiny bit more by just adding a little bit white, and that gives that mane a more of a kind of like a fiery mane almost. Quite simple to do. So all we're doing is, again, we're adding lighter colours to our darker colours, and that brings out all the beautiful colours that we need. Very simple. Okay, that was quick and easy, wasn't it? Okay. We'll go back to our brown again, because I'm hoping that this is our face needs another coat. This time I'm going to go back with my unit brush. Again, all the brushes I use in probably all my shows are from Army Painter. I use Army Painter brushes, not because they're the best. I use them because of the price, and they get the job done that I need. I do have lovely expensive brushes, but I kind of save them for the best of the best of the best, if you know what I mean. And I still haven't used them. But with the army painted brushes, they got a nice fixed stem, see? And I got biker podgy hands. So because they've got the nice fixed stem on the brush, they're fantastic for people with larger fingers. So for me, they work a treat. Okay, that's better. Okay, I'm just looking at the picture now. I think what I'll do, I'm going to put this on the radiator. I'm going to let this dry, and then we can add that ink wash. And the same with this Manticore. A few more coats of the Manticore, and we can get the ink wash in this bad boy as well. It's just around the face. I just want to. Yeah, there we are, that's what I'm looking for. Just want to get a much even colour. That's nice. Yeah, it's crazy. You get all these expensive brushes and things, and then we're like, I don't think I'll use it. I mean, it's the brush set I got is the Opus ones? Yeah, the Opus, and they're absolutely beautiful. They come in a wooden box. They come with the soap to clean the brushes. And for a miniature painter, they are like, oh my god. You know, I keep them in my display cabinet. I keep them in my display because they're so beautiful. And that's another thing. When you got such an expensive, nice set of paints or anything, even after you've been, you know, I've been painting 30 odd years, and I still don't want to ruin things. You know. I'll never be the perfect painter, simple as that. I'm a speed painter, so yes, I still mess up my brushes now and again. I'm not going to lie and say that I can make a brush last for years, because that would be a complete lie. My brushes, my army painted brushes, have a lifespan, probably a lifespan of maybe 6 months or so, depending on the brush. Some brushes do last a lot longer. But the amount of painting I do, I go through brushes and paints like no end, crazy stuff. Well, Mighty Lancer Games, you know how much paint and brushes I order from you. You know, if you can get a guess of how much I use. I mean, I do look after my brushes, don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is, they don't last. If you're doing a lot of work with your brushes, nothing lasts forever. So I'd be scared to ruin a really nice set of brushes, even though saying that, I'd probably be really super careful with those ones. Now what I'm doing now, I'm adding the claws, just the black. Sorry, I'm getting carried away chatting. I'm not telling you what I'm doing. I'm just adding the blacks to the claw ends. And once this is all dry, we can add that ink wash. Now what we can also do is we can add the teeth as well. Now as you can see with the tail, because I started off with a dark colour for the tail, I don't really need to do much with that, because once that ink wash goes on, that's going to darken it anyway. Now with the rest of the miniature, we've lightened it up with our lighter brown, we've done the mane, and we've roughly got what's on the picture there. So all I need to do is add that ink wash when it's dry, put some teeth onto our Manticore and add in some eyes. But that'll be added once that ink wash is dry. As you know, I always add my eyes after I've added ink washes. The nights are getting darker and darker so quick now. It's about half past 3, 4 o'clock in Scotland, and it's dark. That's the ones. Yep, Mighty Lads Games, Artist Opus. That's the ones. Right then, for the troll, for the skin of the troll, and to go over the whole of the troll, I'm going to just put on some soft tone. Soft tone ink wash by Army Painter. And what have I got for my brush? I'm just using an old brush to add the ink wash. And this soft tone doesn't change. It's not too heavy, but it's enough to really look fab on the skin of the troll. And again, as you know, once I've added this ink wash, I shall take away ink wash in certain parts, just to highlight the skin more. Straight into the hair, over the face. It's important to do all the highlighting on your miniature. I mean, just adding an ink wash by itself is a good thing to do, but if you add the highlights like I showed you on your miniatures, it does change the way the miniature looks, and it really does help with the blending around the miniature. So it is important. Even though I'm adding ink washes everywhere, you still need to follow the painting of the highlighting to make your miniature look better. The only way you can get away really with a basic paint is on skeletons. With skeletons, yes, you can paint just your skeleton bone colour, and then you can just add an ink wash, and whatever you do, that skeleton is going to look fab. But when you've got different types of skin, like this troll, you want to have different variations in the skin, because it all really helps. So what I'm doing now is I'm going over all the highest areas and taking away this ink wash with my cotton buds. It takes away the pooling, of course, but what's happening is the cotton buds will take away, and that highlight that I painted before instantly blends in with the rest of the miniature, but you get a fantastic effect on the whole mini. You're getting all those highlights coming through because I'm taking that ink wash away. The ink wash is going into all the recesses of the miniature, so everything that I've painted is now blended. So if there's any lines or any parts of the miniature that didn't just quite look right, this actually helps tremendously. Plus it gives that troll a nice dirty look as well. So just taking away the highest areas. There we are. If you see any pooling, again, it's a good way to get rid of your pooling, is a little cotton bud. But we're not taking away any of the ink wash from the recesses, just the highest areas if possible. So the highest areas where you've done all that hard work doing the highlighting, you can just remove it and you'll be left with the nice skin underneath. Nice simple middle paint. The loincloth, I'll use a darker brown for that one. So again, I'm just going over the areas with the ink wash, and I'm taking away the ink wash on the highest areas. And what I'm doing, I'm letting the ink wash settle in all the recesses, and while it's doing that, I am then removing the excess from the highest areas. Obviously you can't see it well on camera, but every time I go around the miniature, it's getting lighter and lighter in the highest places. So we just keep on going around and tidying up the highest points of the muscles, and keeping an eye on that ink wash so that it's not pooling in any certain areas of the miniature. But that's not too bad at all. Okay, so what I'll do that, I'll put that on the radiator, and this one should be dry now. What we'll do is we'll give this a brown ink wash. Now this time we're going for the dark brown ink wash. The dark brown, of course, I'll use the Agrax Surf Shade. So I shall get my little special holder from Scottish Andy. Move that over there. Give that a mix up. And once again, we're using large old brush. I'm just going to apply the brown ink wash over the whole miniature, and then we'll remove the ink wash with the cotton buds. Again, very simple to do, but highly effective. So again, for a beginner, what I've done today is a fantastic way for you to have an awesome looking miniature with minimal effort. And see, just by adding that ink wash, it's going into all the recesses. The highlights that I've added are coming through. So we're still getting the highlights, and this is why I'm saying it's important to do the highlights before you add that ink wash. If you don't add the highlights, it'll just be brown on brown. This way you're actually adding a little bit more to the miniature. Now I'm going to do this in parts with the ink wash because it's quite a tricky one. There's lots of strange little places. So what I'm doing here now is I put my brush down again, get it in the little earbud or Q-tip, I don't know what the correct name for these little things are, and I'm just going to take some of the paint off the edges, some of the ink wash, sorry, off the edges of the wings, just so it lightens it a little bit up towards the back end of the wings. We want to keep all the ink wash going along the wing tips, but just on the wings itself, it'll just give it a lighter tone going up the wings. With the ink wash, you can really use it to your advantage. It's not just a case of chucking the ink wash all over your miniature and hoping for the best. You can actually use ink wash in your favour and use it as a medium for making effects with your miniatures, just by taking away in certain places, and it gives it a nice lighter effect on those wings. It's fantastic. Now we can do the rest of the body. Again, we'll go over this tail. Now the tail is dark, so what we're going to do is we're going to go quite heavy with the ink wash, and we're going to just let it do its thing. We're going to let it pool inside there, and we're going to let it dry on all these little spikes on the tail. We'll take off excess, but we're going to let it dry heavily inside that tail, and that'll really make it dark like it's done now, and that'll dry that way, which will be nice. So we'll leave that like it is, and then we'll just go around to the rest of the body. Again, under the wings, And what I'll do is I shall take the ink wash off before we move to the face. Just do this in parts because this is quite there's lots of parts of this miniature quite hard to get to under the wings and stuff, so it's best to do it in sections. So just go around all the wings. Nice and simple. Again, Q-tips. I've just taken the excess, highest areas again, and we're just removing that excess ink wash, but leaving all the detail on the miniature. But we're just taking off on the highest areas. Again, this gives you another highlight and a shade to your miniatures just by adding an ink wash. Simple, but really brings out everything on the Manticore. And as you can see, I mean, I've only spent what, 10 minutes on this, 10-15 minutes, and it looks fab. Just by using a couple of basic little techniques on your miniature, you can get a little tabletop ready miniature done in no time. Again, we're just taking off the ink wash off the highest areas. These little Q-tips are the let me show you the pack I got. They're the Johnson's, oh there we are, cotton buds. Johnson's cotton buds, 200 buds. I mean, they're cheap as chips. I think they're a couple of quid, maybe 200. But for your arsenal, for your painting, for your arsenal of paints and brushes, they really are worth the pennies, because they really help get into all the different areas. You can use a tissue, but when you got parts like under here and the wings, you're better off getting some of these cotton buds just to help remove excess on your miniature. Now let's go to the face. Now with the face, I think what I'm going to do, have I got some more of that? Let's see, I'm going to go back to that lighter, the light one, the light ink wash by Army Painter. Yeah, there's a little bit left there, and we'll see if we can get that onto here. There we go. That will just help with the face. There we go. Okay, so we added a little bit of ink wash to the face there, and once again another Q-tip, and I've just taken off the ink on the highest areas on the forehead, just dabbing, and on the nose, just take away some of that ink wash, and around the chin. Perfect. Oh, and maybe one on the cheekbones. There we are. Awesome. Okay. Let's get our little Venom Troll back. Right, all I need to do on these are the teeth and the eyes. Now, I can't really do those at the minute because everything is wet, so what I'll do is I'll put the ink wash on the back of here. Again, we're using the dark brown for this one. Use this one. Add a little bit of brown. This is a dark brown ink wash, just to go over the loincloth of the Venom Troll, and all that brown will go in and give lovely folds that we want for our troll. Very simple. Okay. Now, the last thing we can do today, because time is flying by, is all I need to do really with these, apart from painting the teeth and the eyes, which is a very simple thing to do, is I'll add some black ink wash to the grey bases. If I can find my black ink wash. Now I've painted the bases grey, so by adding this black ink wash, again this will give the bases all the shading they need, and then we just go over the bases again with a grey dry brush over the top. But just by adding this black, the bases are transformed instantly, and all the detail has come out around the base. Very simple. And again with the Manticore, we'll just go over the base with a basic black ink wash. It doesn't matter what company you use for your ink washes. Like I say, I get all my paints from Mighty Lancer Games. You can get all the ink washes and paints from Games Workshop, Vallejo, Army Painter, MSP. Who am I missing? Yeah, they do. I can't think of any more. Mighty Lancer Games. Any other paints that you do? I can't think of any off my head at the moment. So there we are. A quick, simple hour's paint. All I got to do is do the eyes, and just a few little touch-ups here and there, ready for my photo shoot later on today. But there we are for a quick, fast paint. This is the Venom Troll by Wizkids, and this is the Manticore. Let me see if I can get